on streams that honestly, if everyone was mad at me, it would make a lot more sense. Oh. Um, okay. That's just the thing I'm gonna just keep up from now on. Anyway, let's see. Let's say video producer there. Just want to make sure that I post and tweet and put all the things out. Oh no. Hi. Who's here? Who's actually here? I need to read the chat. Hi, Lux. Thanks. I like the thumbnail too. I love the thumbnail. If only I would like actually do my social media posts on time and kind of do my job early. But I'm gonna be real. Everything today was kind of last minute. Been really busy. Life happened. Right now on the channel. Just trying to make sure that like everything I need to do today gets done. I think I think with things how things have been, and me planning other Webcomics Hub stuff and doing other editing for Webcomics Hub, it's just things got away from me. So I do apologize for everything being so last minute. Hello, Ty. Hello, Hadrian. Yeah, I had to get my assistant Tyler, the guiding light in my life. Yeah, I have been traveling. Traveling is weird, man. I didn't know how much I hated it until I did it again. Would I do it again? Yes. Like would I do this trip specifically again? Yes. And it doesn't help that I started a new company, Webtoon Studio, with one of my buddies, another person, and we've been planning that. So just a lot of things are in the way. You know what I mean? Don't worry. That isn't gonna take all my time. I promise. And if it does, I promise it'll at least be funny. We have like a pretty good rundown today. I have stuff I want to break down. I have stuff I want to talk about. I have clips I want to show if I can hopefully get them working. So it's gonna be a pretty, in my opinion, today is gonna be pretty fun. I'm gonna have a lot of fun, even if you don't. And yeah, that's a promise. That's a Webcomics Hub promise, a promise from God. I'm streaming so late today. I'm so sorry to everybody who's watching this really late. Okay. Anyway, I've done all the stuff I need to do on the side. I've moved and touched and moved and done everything I need to do here. Let me just get to start. Today's episode is brought to you by the patrons of Webcomics Hub on patreon.com/webcomicshub. You can probably see their beautiful names scrolling through here, especially our two top tier patrons, X Sensei and Jenny Tunes. If you'd like to become a Patreon, please go to patreon.com/webcomicshub. It helps fund the things that I do to get this show to you and other things. Anyway, let's get into the show. Gonna grab some wine. Don't grab wine. Let's get into the show. I literally am doing the transition, the screen transition, and then I looked there and just be like, oh, let me make sure everything's good. My avatar isn't showing up, and I have no idea why. Oh, there they are. There they are. There. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Webcomics Hubcast. Episode 3. We are 3 episodes in because I've had to do a 0.5 and missed 2 separate weeks for complicated reasons. The last one was missed because I was in Denmark. I was going to stream from my phone, but I didn't actually bring a tripod, so I couldn't actually stream normally. Anyway, hi. It's been a while. I've missed you. I've missed you very much, and I've got a lot to tell you about my trip to Denmark, the Webcomics Hub trip to Denmark as press. It was really great, met some wonderful people, spoke to some even more wonderful people, and hopefully I can condense all of this into a proper video instead of just this stream. But, you know, the stream is always a good thing for me just to get my thoughts out there, talk to you guys, and hear what you think of the things that I've seen and you know, and show you some previews of what you will see eventually. I think, though, before we get into that, I just want to kind of talk about some news that I missed, you know, while I was gone. One of them being the most surprising news, in my opinion, Everdate. You guys know Everdate? I think I mentioned this once on the stream, but Everdate's a thing. It's a thing that exists. Everdate is the anime dating game, the dating sim game from the creator of Let's Play. It's out on Kickstarter. I currently, Webcomics Hub currently owns a copy. We own a copy that we're gonna get about 5th stage of beta. So we'll play it early enough, and we'll play it on channel just so that it's out of the way. So don't buy one if you don't want one. You get to watch us play it. So save yourself that struggle. We're gonna be playing Everdate on the channel at some point. Other things in other news. Comixology's Fallout is still ongoing. If you don't know Comixology, it is the comic purchasing service that was technically is still owned by Amazon. And they had a massive fallout, firing most of their staff during Amazon's massive layoffs, firing literally almost all of their staff, with very few people left on the wall. And there is a long 3-part expose tell-all from the former program manager, Scott McGovern, that is on Bleeding Cool right now. It's great. I've been reading it. It's a lot to condense and read. There's just a lot of stuff. You can, if you love reading, you can go find it. Here's the show. There's the thing. Always got to support other media companies in the space. Here's the thing. Go look on Bleeding Cool and read it. It's a 3-part. If you would rather I condense it into a shorter, more digestible video, do let me know. But I just want everyone to know that exists. But from what I've read, the writing was on the wall for so long that it might as well have been tattooed into the ceiling. Like, holy crap. Tattooed into the concrete. Holy crap. If you want to see all the photos I took at J-popcon for the Denmark trip, they should be somewhere on social media. I'll probably post that. No, I have them somewhere. I put them in a lot of places. They're in the r/Denmark subreddit. Go there. Go to the r/Denmark subreddit. It's in there. Have fun. And one last thing that's in major general comics news. What'd you call it? What they call it? Diamond Publishing, Diamond Studios, the big publishing house that helps print most of the comics in the industry. They used to print most of the comics in the industry. They have currently found a way to reduce shipping costs. I have no idea what that means for us long term, but it is a thing to know. Also, hi, Ari. Good to see you. Nice to see a new face. Always nice to see a new face. I think that's how I say her name. Ari, one of the two. Anyway, all that finished. Let's talk about Denmark. So, if you guys don't know this, I went to J-popcon. I think the best way to really showcase J-popcon is with one of the images I've got of them. J-popcon is an anime, is it like a Japanese anime and art convention in Denmark. Denmark is a weird place for a lot of reasons. One of them being the fact that, like, while I was there, I discovered that Denmark has a massive fascination with Asian culture, but mainly I found out that they have a very vibrant community for K-pop dance troops. So that was interesting. But yeah, so I go to this convention thanks in large part to my friend Luxiva, who's in chat right now, helping me get access to them, like in a press capacity, right? And it was an experience that I have a lot to say about is the best way to put everything I feel about J-popcon right now. One of the first things I'd love to talk about is just getting there. So, all right, let me start with this. The first day of let me start here. I think this is the best way to start. My experience with J-popcon started pretty much on day one. I was early. To J-popcon. And you can tell that I was early because I have photos from, I have some photos from there that are like super early. Like, you know, you show up, no one's around, entire place is empty kind of deal, right? So I was super early to J-popcon. I was physically there just so early in the day. And the starting point of J-popcon, the first couple hours, easily, were horrible. They were some of the worst hours of my life. Like, I had never been so exhausted, so tired to be anywhere ever. Not because anybody wasn't doing their job. I wouldn't say that. I would just say like they were clearly like swamped with stuff to do. When we arrived, first day, there was a lot of what felt to me like disorganization, which I don't think is because of I don't think it's anyone's individual fault, but it was very annoying because you would go up to somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm looking for this person because I need to get this thing," and they would basically be like, "Don't know where they are," and then that person who's telling you they don't know where they are would have like a radio on them as well. So you'd watch someone with the ability to find out all the information you don't know, just tell you, don't know where they are. And it was so disorganized. I just started wandering around. As soon as I got my pass, I started wandering around the convention area. This is a picture I took. It's out of focus. I think the next one is better. No, it's not. One of them is better. There, that's the better one. The picture I took while I was there. It's out of focus as hell. But I was walking around and I managed to just enter places with my pass. My pass was press external. But like people would just see press and then let me in. So I have no idea if I was allowed everywhere I went to. It was very interesting. But it was great. I got lots of photos like this. I got to talk to lots of people at the convention. I got to talk to lots of people here. This is the exhibitors hall. So what you're seeing here is exhibitors hall. This is where all the people who are like proper who aren't indie, people who own their own companies, etc. Were selling their stuff. You've been to a convention before. You've seen the people who sell tons of like games or TV or anime memorabilia or those cans of soda that have Pokemon on them. Lots of that everywhere. The exhibitors hall was great. This table you're seeing in front of me with the Pokemon stuff, with the Kirby and Yoshi stuff, it was run by a group called Games.dk or something like that. They were like a vintage game reseller. They were great guys. They told me a lot of stuff about their experience with the con and paying for stuff. And one of the things they told me was getting an exhibitor's table here, even with the amount of tables they took up, was just prohibitively expensive. In their opinion, at least. In their opinion, it was prohibitively expensive. Do I know? They wouldn't tell me the exact number for lots of reasons, but while talking to them, it was very obvious that the exhibitors hall was like an expensive area. But then when I went over to talk to people at the artist alley portion of the convention, it was more of like a cost-effective environment. People were talking about how cheap it was, how easy it was to get into the artist alley section of J-popcon, and how low cost the entire environment was. I'm trying to find a photo of the artist alley. I'm trying to find a photo of the artist alley that doesn't have people's faces that I can't show you. Oh God, it's so hard to find a photo of there. I have photos of like a ton of stuff, but for some reason I have no candid photos of the artist alley. But yeah, the artist alley was cheap. I think the people there told me it cost 300 Danish kroners. So 300 Danish kroners for context is about 35 pounds, 35, 40 pounds, all for for 3 straight convention days. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And yeah, from what I understand from everyone there was more people at this convention than they had ever seen at the J-popcon. It was quite interesting. I still have some more stuff I could show you guys. Actually, let me show you some more footage from me going around. So this I took some video. I took some video while walking around. If it will play, there it is. So this is Handcab. Accept it. Just tons of. This is just still the exhibitors hall, by the way. Just tons of stuff. The company selling all these Funko Pops is called Fado Cigar. We'll talk about them in a bit. But like, yeah, the exhibitors hall just had tons of stuff. They had Gunpla. Everyone was really cool. Everyone was answering every question that I pretty much asked, as nosy as I was. And when people came in and started to trickle in, it was like kind of like a small mini earthquake. They had to hold back the floodgates of people regularly because there was just too many people for the location. The location, by the way, being the biggest exhibition hall I think anyone could get in Copenhagen. And what's funnier for me is that exhibition hall was also like a climbing place. So if you look over here behind the this is Fado Cigar's booth. Behind it, you can see the climbing wall. Sorry, it didn't occur to me how small of a location Denmark was. Anyway, in this last video, I just want you guys to pay attention because you're gonna see this name here is fantastic. That's the name of one of our main characters for later. Keep them in mind. We'll get back to them. Anyway, the convention was a phenomenally fun experience, meeting all these people, seeing the giant swaths of individuals. When I went to talk to people in the artist alley, it was a very interesting experience. The way the convention started out as well was the artist alley was filled first. So artist alley was opened. Exhibitors hall was closed for basically half of the first day, right? So people just stayed in artist alley buying stuff like over and over and over again. Some people I spoke to, they made all of their money back on like the first day. All the money they spent, coming here, printing stuff, everything, all on like the first day. Day one, they broke even. For some people, it took 3 days to break even. It obviously depends on your popularity. But like I heard from one individual at least that it was pretty good money. And everyone who was there at the convention, doesn't matter from exhibitor to artist alley table, said to me, the best part about J-popcon is no matter how expensive it is, you never don't break even. To me, that's a very interesting thing to hear because I've heard of people going to conventions like Anime Expo or Anime X in I think that's in Canada, and Anime Expo I think is in California, and like San Diego Comic-Con and other comic conventions like that, and talking about how like it was rough, it was hard to break even, I couldn't break even, I lost money. A lot of people tell me that. Very rarely do I hear, very rarely do I hear like you just don't lose money when you come here kind of thing. And I'm sure it's probably more common. I just don't hear about it. It was great to talk to them, and there was lots of activities to do. But one of the things that happens in J-popcon is exhibitors and like artist alley people don't pay, as I said earlier, for 1 or 2 of the 3 days. Your payment to be there is for all 3 days. So you don't get different people day on day. You get exactly the same people every single day. It kind of got boring, but it was great for me as a press person. It was great. I got to talk to lots of people and learn about what they were interested in, learn about their creations, and have multiple conversations with them to get to know them. And I think the best person I will start from is meeting Merriweather. that was a doozy. I met Merriweather and Lumi VTuber. This is their table. I can't show their faces because Mary doesn't want me to show his face. I think I could show Lumi's, but whatever. Anyway, so I met them pretty much start of the con, day one. I texted Mary on DMs and I was like, "Hey, buddy boy, I'm here. I'm here in good old the DK, and I want to see you. I want to see your face. I want to have an argument with you. I want to talk to you about what it's like. I want to interview you." He was super accommodating. It was actually really nice. We had multiple conversations throughout the weekend, just on different things. And I think my favorite part of it was just how fun it was to talk to a creator, a person I basically kind of an acquaintance, almost a friend that I'd grown to know over a couple of years online, and meet him in person. Very rarely do I feel that. Very rarely do I get that feeling. So it was really fun. We talked about stuff that we'd had a conversation about years ago. We talked about things that we hadn't talked about with each other in ages because he's been so busy and I've been so busy. We just don't talk as much. We talked about Tapastic. Apparently, Tapastic's head of content despises me. That's very funny. That's very funny to me. But guys, just so you know, if you're wondering why I never talked to the head of content at Tapas or interview, that's why he hates my guts. We talked about just like the general state of webcomics, and I had an interview with him, an interview that I had to do with his VTuber avatar. Let me see if I have a clip of that. I should have a clip of that I could show you guys with no audio, obviously. If you want the full unedited interview I did with Merriweathery, that is in its entirety on also, hey friends, Adhika. That is in its entirety on Patreon right now. The entire interview I did with all the interviews I did pretty much at J-popcon are in their entirety there at on why am I forgetting the words I want to say? They're on Patreon, patreon.com/webcomics hub. Anyway, back to the Merriweather interview. I need to find one without his face because I agreed to not show his face, and I'm never gonna lie to you, boy. Anyway, here's a great one. So this is me talking to Merriweather's VTuber avatar to interview him about his company. It doesn't only go like this. At one point, it's this. This is great. It was very fun. It was actually very funny to do, honestly, because I had to record this with my DSLR in like, it was a weird, like we had to set up a whole 3-man brigade to do this correctly. Yeah, that is on Patreon right now. We have a great conversation. We talk about lots of different things. Mary is an accommodating and very honest person to talk to, and I really appreciate that from him. I also had conversations with lots of other people. One of my favorite conversations is unfortunately fucked because I'm an idiot. And I'm going to show you who I spoke to because they are a very nice person. Where in God's name is it? They are like the nicest person on the planet. And I lost my interview with them. And if I say that it doesn't hurt me, I'm lying. Let me just pause. Let me just pause the video real quick. This is Jules. This is Jules. Jules is the creator of a couple comics. She works on Tapas. I'm just trying to find the comic she gave me. She was super nice. She gave me her comic Prom Night, but she's the creator of Seemingly Dark and other stories based in the same universe, basically about teenage monsters and it's ghost stories and and stuff like that, all wrapped in one. It's very like it's a supernatural story with a lot of interesting additions that make it not as exhausting as everything else you've read. And the copy of a comic she gave me is called Prom Night. I'm holding it right now in my hands, and it's just a really lovely thing to read. Jules, if you want to follow her on Twitter, her Twitter is @RaptorJules. But Jules Royce Anderson, Jules is great. She's wonderful. She was very funny. She's very charming. Talking to her was like a delight on my soul. I had to write down everything we spoke about the same day because guess what? 5 seconds later, I walk away, realize all the audio I recorded of talking to Jules, corrupted, fucked. So no audio, just video. Jules is wonderful though. I need to talk about talking to her. She was in the Artist Alley. And she just talked a lot about like living, she's an American, talked a lot about living in the Danish, Swedish area, being a comic creator. And one of the things she said that was very important is while there are people around there trying to make it, make money, make it as a full-time creator, it is hard and also expensive. No, I didn't lose that interview, Luxiva. But it is hard and also expensive. J-popcon, coming to the convention for her was more about meeting people and less about actually making money. But she even, she talked about how she just really wanted to meet new people in the area and make new friends that like made comics in person. That adds a lot. And I'm going to probably DM her on Twitter and be like, hey, I lost all the other two interview, but I thought you were an amazing person. The convention, I met other people there at the convention as well. One of my favorite people to meet was Hope, whose face I'm going to try and pause at a really good time because I hate it when I pause a video and I have somebody like in like a bad pose. Let me see if I have. Come on. People talking and like, you know what? Whatever. This is like the best. People talking and when you're recording a video, the face is so dynamic that there's no place you can pause that like looks fine. Anyway, Hope, they are wonderful. They are the creator of Corvid's Eye. Hope Hjort, one of the two names. I don't know how to say that. Hjort seems to be a very generic common name in Denmark or in the general area, but Hope is a creator in Denmark, from Denmark, that came to the convention, but they're trying to go full time with their comic creation work, and they just really talked to me about the general industry around there, how they feel, how J-popcon has been for them, and like everyone, lots of hey Carl Life, hey Kiki, but lots of positive things were said by all these people. Lots of positive things were said about being at the convention and the area and just the Danish comic scene in general from an indie space. I know I did interviews, I took pictures. It was a lot, dude. I worked hard. I did a full job. And all these creators told me lots of wonderful things about the H. Oh, is Jort? It's Jort? Like the fashionable jeans short worn only by the sexiest of men. It's Jort. These fucking Scandinavians, man. Like they don't know what the fuck they're on. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of digging their whole deal, but you know what? Fuck it. We're done. We're done with Scandinavia, guys. When the stream is over, we're never going back. Anyway, that was the last straw. That was the last straw for me. Jort. All right, cool. Fuck my life, I guess. Anyway, so met Hope Jort, really wonderful person. I also met two creators I've tweeted about. I've tweeted about. I met Madamka and Soya. Oh, like New York, but D instead of K. New York. Yord. Oh, that's the worst. You're just making this worse. You're making this so much worse than it has to be. Like I was kind of on board with. I was getting on board with jorts, the fashionable jeans. Yord is awful. Anyway, I met two wonderful creators as well around, and we hung out, and we went to Denmark's version of McDonald's called Max. Awful place. Loved it though. And I met the creator Soya, wonderful person, awesome. And I met Madamka, also an awesome person. The two of them were just a delight to hang around with. We walked around, took a few photos, and we talked about comics in the industry. We talked about lots of things. And then at one point, I was held hostage by Madamka. I'm just trying to find the tweet where she threatens to kill me. Where is it? There it is. So there I am, minding my own goddamn business. And they do this. So they try to beat me up. Very upset by this moment. And then during and then what do you call it? Madamka tweeted this out. And then also told me to get fucked after she threatened to break my legs. It was a complicated time. Not gonna lie. Here I am spreading misinformation on the internet. But no, they were great. They were great. Meeting them was really fun. Meeting them was honestly one of the big highlights of the trip. I talk about comics a lot. I talk to comic creators a lot, and I have a lot of comic creator friends. But it's one thing to talk to people you know, and talk about people you know, and talk with people you know, and to be in a new place entirely and meet people who've seen your stuff. It was not as surreal as it would be if it was an absolute stranger, but it was surreal to meet someone who'd watched my stuff, formed opinions about me that had never spoken to me in my life. Like we'd never really spoken. And they just watched my videos and formed opinions about me. It was really nice. Uh, I'm glad they don't hate me. Uh, but it was really lovely to meet them, get to know them, get to hang out with them. And that was a beautiful match on her selfie. Thanks, Luxiva. I'll get to that. And throughout the entire trip, this whole 3 day session, I spent it with Luxiva in chat, which was great. Luxiva basically picked me up from the airport and then dragged me around Denmark. And this is the part where I'm going to talk a little bit less about the con for a bit. I talk about being around Denmark and hanging out with a friend who wanted to show me the Danish comic scene. Because there is a scene in Denmark for comics, and it's a beautiful, beautiful scene. So, remember those people I mentioned way, way earlier? I mentioned them a bit ago. I called them Fantask. If I can just find the video with them in it. Fantask is the name of a comic book and sci-fi store in Denmark. One of the oldest ones in Europe. I think the oldest one in Europe for comic book and sci-fi. And there they are. There they are in a video. There they are right at the beginning of a video. And I went to their store along with the store of their competitor, Faro Cigar. A name. Danish people are weird. They speak fake language. Okay, just let's move on. Anyway, I went there. It was actually kind of an intense trip. Faro Cigar is the biggest comic chain in Denmark, I believe. Just the biggest nerd company in one of the biggest nerd companies I've ever seen in Europe. They have 5 stores in central Copenhagen within like 15 seconds of each other. They have 5 stores. They have 5 stores. 5 stores. I cannot overstress this enough. Not 4, not 3, 5. 5 fucking stores, right? And those stores deal with all sorts of stuff. They deal with everything from just general nerd culture. Like they literally have stores that all they do is sell cosplay gear, right? They have stores that sell cosplay gear, all the way to stores that sell tabletop stuff. I'm just trying to find a good photo. Tabletop stuff that sell comics, that sell what else do they have? God, here's me at a Faro Cigar. Yeah, there it is. Here's my footage from a Faro Cigar. So this is me at Faro's. That's their side. This is their store that sells, I think this store sells just tabletop stuff. Yeah, this is a tabletop store. This store sells just tabletop stuff. It's huge, it's big, and it's just it's a massive place. I went everywhere. They had a Harry Potter tabletop game that was kind of mid. This is their collection of just tabletop stuff that they have hanging around. Insane quantities of stuff. Like, my God. They have a costume store where they have one that's just like figurines. Like, this one is just DVDs, figurines. That's the entire store. Like this one I'm about to show you, this one. It's just DVDs, figurines. That's it. That's like tons of square footage. 2 floors. Every store is about 2 floors high, apart from the tabletop store, because they just put a second floor that's just DVDs and other stuff, right? And figurines. And then they have this huge, giant Alien from Aliens movie statue, the xenomorph, gigantic xenomorph statue, along with like all their other stuff. They have random. Sorry, I keep cutting just to make sure I'm showing you the right images, but they just have this for some reason in the cosplay store. This is the cosplay store. They just had this hanging around. So if you ever want to look like Itachi Uchiha and Sakura, I forgot what Sakura's last name is. Haruno? Good to know. And Sakura Haruno, welcome. You can buy their wigs. it was an experience. I'm trying to make sure the next couple photos are all right. But yeah, I saw this massive wall. They sell paper blanks. So if you look on the left, those are paper blanks. That's just like literally blank paper where you could draw and write whatever. So if you wanted to make a spell book cosplay, you could just write in there like a random script and decorate the book. They sell like fake weapons. They sell like fake dragons' heads and fake armor and fake all that stuff. They sell hats. One of my friends, Samurai Flame, eat your heart out. They have 4 tricorn hats. I wanted to buy one for you, and then I forgot to DM you, and I had to go. It was great. I had a ton of fun at the cosplay store. And then we finally went to their manga store, their comics and manga store. And I want to say this real quick. This is the manga store. This is Mashley. I was looking at it, really fascinated. But this is the back of the manga store that faces the street, right? If you turned quite literally 180 degrees right in front of you, in plain sight of everyone, of God and man, of everyone, Jesus Christ could see this. Straight up fucking hentai. Just out and about. No shame, no game, no fluff, no mess. Just out there. And I don't mean like it's hentai, but like the bind is gone. It's just labeled hentai. No. You could see everything. You could come into this store full of other self-respecting adults, and open and read hentai in front of them going, am I gonna want to fucking jerk off to this later? Let me check it out. You know when you walk into a bookstore and you like pre-read a book, right? You could pre-read some fucking hentai in here. Wild to me. I feel like there's some 14-year-old that walks in here, grabs one of these, just stands there reading it, getting his rocks off. Because that's the only thing I can imagine the point is. Like, what the fuck? Why is the porn out? It's not even in like a back area. Guys, if you walk into the door of the comics this is the manga and comic store, you walk into the front door, right? Turn right, and then just turn right, walk a little bit, and then turn right. It's right there. That's where the porn is. I remember it so vividly because it was such a fucking culture shock. Concerning is an understatement, but again, that's just what the Denmarks do. They do that. They do it in Waterstones, literally. No, there's no fucking hentai in Waterstones. You're full of it. You're full of it. No, they don't. I can't believe you. I don't want to believe you, I think is the correct statement. I don't want to believe you. I don't want to believe that that's the world we live in. Simultaneously, I don't care. Like I should say, as much as I'm like being upset about it, quote unquote, for like as like a show thing, I don't give a shit. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. It's just very weird to me. Culturally, it's a very different and unexpected thing. Is the best way to say it. Straight up yaoi straight up yaoi in the Waterstones? Bro. No. Sam, no. Sam's probably right though. Fuck. Straight up yaoi in the Waterstones. There's not enough about yaoi. Dude, there was so much yaoi. There's so much to talk about yaoi. We'll get there. Anyway. For $500, I'll unashamedly read hentai in public in Denmark. I also want to say, through all these all these like store visits, I really need to thank Luxiva. Luxiva is, if you guys don't know, Luxiva is Danish. And as I said earlier, she basically guided me throughout the entire goddamn country. And every time I walked into a store, my fucking YouTuber brain rot was like, oh, store, just walk in and like record. And I would just walk in and film the way I would film here. But the way I film in the UK and in other places, whenever I walk in and film stuff for a video, is I try to film covertly. But then I got really brazen because what would happen is I would walk in and then Luxiva would basically tell them, Nen's here, it's press, don't worry about it. He's here for J-popcon, and they all knew J-popcon because they're all fucking nerds. So like they were like, "Oh, you're here for J-popcon? Please film at leisure." Everyone in Denmark is so chill. Holy crap! Like Jesus Christ, they would just let me film whatever I wanted. If people's faces were in it, I would just walk up to them and ask, "Hey, you okay with this?" And most of them are like, "Fine." One person told me no. One person. They all knew what's going on the YouTube channel as well. Only one person told me no. And that person told me no was Mary, which is fine because he gave me an alternative. It was something. It was something to be there. It was really just interesting. My favorite picture from being in Faro Cigar really is this. It's just this one that's just as a random copy of Pusheen the cat, surrounded by Attack on Titan 20th Century Boys. Like everything here contains sex in some form and nudity, and then there's just fucking Pusheen. I don't get how they list things in this country, on how they like put things on the shelf in this country. Holy crap. Anyway. Yeah, there's tons of straight up yaoi too, by the way. Like, my God, the amount of literally straight up yaoi that I saw was unbelievable. Yeah, that Agretsuko is there. Agretsuko is like right next to it as well. Yeah. And then we went to the Blue Blur. We went to the Golden Gate State, the place I really wanted to go to, and the characters I mentioned earlier. We went to Fantask. Go. Let me just hit you up with some information. In Denmark, there are two stores. You saw one of them earlier, Farao Cigar. Farao Cigar, what do you call it? Looks if I can post like the spelling in chat. But Farao Cigar is big, 5 fucking stores, right? Fantask is incredibly small. They are this store that I'm showing you right here, this underground store. It doesn't go up, by the way. It don't go up. Literally, you see that ground floor bit and a little bit into the ground? That's the entire goddamn store. That is Fantask in a nutshell. It doesn't even go past that wall you see on the left side. That's all Fantask is. It's a very, very, very small comic book store. And it's old school as fuck. Like, oh my God, it's old school. It felt like I was back in comic book stores I grew up in. Like just comic book and bookstores I grew up in back as a kid. It was small. It was a little bit dinky. It was just a little bit like the comics in there weren't always stuff that people really wanted, but they were always interesting to see. Just like there's straight up porn out here too. They have magazines on the left. There's tons of floppies on the left. There's tons of old stuff. One of the copies of the comics back here that literally caught my eye is back here on the right wall. There is a copy of the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man cover from like 1980 something. And there's even a hidden back room in this store. There are 9 What? There are 9 of them? I just threw off my glasses. Holy shit. There's 9 of them? Shit. Oh, fucking kill me. You're kidding. You're kidding. There's not 9. There's 9, aren't there? Fuck. There's 9. There are 9 stores. There are 9 Farao Cigar stores. Guys, just to contextualize this, there is one Fantask, and it is small. It is so small, in fact, everything I've just shown you is pretty much half of the store. The other half is some books and some sci-fi books, and then there's another section, a hidden section in the back that I really want to show you. Oh, there it is. Before I show you the interview, this is the owner of Fantask. I had a wonderful interview with her that is also on Patreon, patreon.com/webcomics hub. You can watch it there. Please remember that you can give as much or as little as you like to be on the Patreon. Anyway, there's a wonderful interview with her there. It's unedited right now. I need to edit and like really put it in a way that is easy to understand what I'm saying and what she's saying and the context and everything. But the unedited versions are all up. So you can watch them if you want, if that's something that interests you. But here, because the store is so small, the anime and hentai are all in this corner of the room. And something that I don't think even a Luxiva saw. Oh yeah, they have this wall of photos. I couldn't get a good photo of it, But Stan Lee's been in this store. Tons of big people have been in this store, and from people I've spoken to in the community on Reddit and people I just talked to in Denmark in general, there used to be a guy who translated most of Marvel's content into Danish for them, and he was called like Marvel Mike or something. And people used to like meet him here when he would come, and he was a big deal to the community. Um, it was just such a cultural shock, I guess, for me, because what essentially it was just I experienced an environment I had never seen. It never really been around. They had these dice, these they had this dice section. This section was full of tabletop and cosplay stuff. This was called, and this is the part looks of it didn't see. I went there alone, but they had like all this tabletop games. There's a few cosplay items in this room, but they're like really low down. And I didn't record it for some reason. This is just me getting B-roll, by the way. That's why it looks so stilted when I film. Um, you know, but like, yeah, it was an experience to be there. And I talked to the owner of Fantastic, and she was, God. We at one point we thought she was gonna cry. They were basically talking us through running this store. This store is like 30 years old, maybe more, 50, maybe 50 years old. She's been working there for 30 years. Zora's 50 some years old. She's been working there for 30 years. And she was like, just 30 years. Like, that's a long fucking time. And she's kept it up. She's kept it up and running and going on, etc., for that entire time. And they were, sometime this year, they were going to shut down. Like, literally, this March, they were going to shut down. They were going to go under, kaput, capiche, done. And then there's a whole plot twist to this that I really don't want to reveal until the main video. But Jesus Christ, the culture that would have been lost if a place like this was gone is unbelievable to me. When I was growing up, there was a store near my house called Action Comics. It was a tiny comic book store run by a guy who lived in the neighborhood who nobody really liked. But I loved that store so much. You guys probably don't know this. I don't talk about this very often. I don't talk about this very often, actually. But I grew up in West Africa. I grew up in a place in West Africa. I don't really want to tell you more than that. But where I grew up, the comics that we got were comics that Americans threw away, right? So I didn't grow up reading brand new editions of anything. Most of my early copies are like most of my copies of comics are like Spider-Man from like 1974. like I have Spawn, the old Spawn issues. I don't know if any of you read Spawn, but the old Spawn issues from back when Spawn took place in Jim Crow America. like that's the kind of old comics I have. Those problematic, kind of terrible, but just like so full of interesting ideas, era content. Before What Ifs, before the millions of spin-off versions came out. Those are the comics I grew up reading. And that store, as terrible as the owner was, meant like everything to me. That store meant everything to me. So going to Fantastic and seeing a place that was so culturally significant to the comic scene was a really important thing. Something I never was a really important thing. And I learned a lot from them about how they've seen things change, how they've influenced things. I learned a lot from people online about how much this store meant to them. I made a post on r/Denmark on the last day of me being in Denmark about just asking people what they thought about Fantastic. And the stuff they had to say about being in that store, about the environment, how important it was that they had an access to this outside world of nerd culture, only because of this store, because Fantastic at that point was the only store selling that stuff. It felt very relatable because it was my life too. And that was really nice. It was great. Being in Denmark, one of the best parts of it was just really experiencing all of the different aspects of nerd culture. And I bought a ton of stuff from Fantastic. I gave them like 2,000 kroners, like holy shit. I spent like $200 there. I bought a ton of new manga. And also I should say this, is a really important thing I want to stress. When I went to Farao Cigar was like a store where I don't know if you live in the UK, you probably know about Forbidden Planet. I don't know what the big comic book stores in America are, but if you think of the biggest comics and nerd store in your area, right? The one that's big, corporate, they hire people. They didn't even really go out of, they can never really go out of business. They sell like all the stuff that you typically expect. there's a thing that all those stores have, and it's that they have employees that are interested in the space, but no one has the knowledge depth of like, I just know this stuff, right? I have like a like a terrifying knowledge space of this stuff, right? So like Fado Cigar is like your big box comic store. You know them. You've probably been there because it's the easiest one to access. It's very nice. But like we talked to 4 people about Webtoon books that were releasing like not small ones as well. We talked about like not Let's Play. We didn't even try. We tried to go for the biggest IPs we knew. We're talking about Solo Leveling. We talked about Lore Olympus, the comic that's so generic and popular that even the children at my school know about it. We talked about Heartstopper. Fado Cigar, one person knew what we were talking about. One person in the entire comic store. There were 6 people on staff there that day. I think about 4 to 6 people on staff. Only one of them knew what we were talking about. She was the nicest person on the planet. Bless her soul, right? She knew all the stuff we're talking about. And she was talking about how they just didn't order that. We went to Fantastic. 2 people work in this fucking store. There's a third person, the husband of the owner, who's upstairs sometimes, was upstairs when we were there. But 2 people work in the store for the most part, and 1 person at the desk. And that lady was terrifying. I want her absolute knowledge. Like she would know. She knows when the earth is going to end. Like that's the kind of encyclopedic knowledge she has. We were like, hey, do you have Lore Olympus? She's like, yeah, we bought Lore Olympus copies, but we've run out. She's telling us all the release things that's coming out that she's trying to order. I bought a copy of Heartstopper there. As a Brit, I owe Alice Osman the duty of purchasing a copy of Heartstopper, but I've really not done it because I'm a terrible British person. But I finally had to get one, so I'm buying one at the store, and I'm like, hey, these look like special edition covers. And she's just like, yeah, they're redoing all the covers for Heartstopper. And she knew something that even I, someone who spends every waking moment of my life reading about webcomic news, just didn't know about it. I follow Alice on Twitter, not my Webcomics Hub Twitter. I follow my personal Twitter. I follow Alice on Twitter. I didn't fucking know. I didn't even know this was happening. And you would think I would, right? But she just knew. She had the knowledge. She had the information. We talked about Webtoon. She was like, I love Webtoons. She was mentioning big name Webtoons that we knew. She mentioned some niche stuff. She talked about the books that were coming out. She talked about she wants to try and get copies of the unscrolled stuff that's coming out in 2023. She was so knowledgeable. And the owner was also very knowledgeable. She was so aware of the space, of the industry, of everything. Being in Fantastic was like getting a really big, warm hug from a comics person that loves all the things you love. Being in Fado Cigar was like, I don't know. It was like pain. I don't know what to put it. It's fine. It wasn't bad. It was just fine. I think that's the best I could say about being there. I was okay. I didn't really love it. The stores are huge. And when you get past that, whoa, I haven't seen this in a long time kind of vibe, because, big stores, new places, things kind of get on you. Once you get past that and you go to all 6, because we went to 5 of the 6 stores in Copenhagen, and you go to all of them. It was just very, It was like going to a hardware store. It was fine. That was it. And also, this is very small. I'm not going to go too deep into it. There's apparently a minor rivalry that exists between the 2 stores in the minds of at least some of the workers there. Now, not in Fantastic. They don't give a shit. They're doing their own thing. But we met a guy in Fado Cigar. We called him the little man. And the only reason we called him the little man is because I'm so freakishly tall, and he's a normal sized man, I promise. The little man, was speaking to Luxiva in Danish, or as I like to call it, Elvish. So they were speaking Elvish, and at one point, apparently they get into a conversation where they talk about Fantastic almost closing. Like I told you, they were almost going to close. And he was very mean about it. Is what I understand from what has been explained to me. I don't speak Elvish. Somebody said "tak" to me the other day on Reddit. I don't even know what "tak" means. I found out today it means thank you. And then did you know? Oh, funny, completely sidetracked. Did you know that if you want to say like thanks a lot in Danish, you say tusind tak, tusind tak. That means like thanks 1,000 times. What the fuck? Anyway, moving on. But yeah, the little elf, the little man at Farah Cigar. There seem to be some people who really just think of Fantasca's old news, old hat should go away, and they are old news, old hat, and they act like old news, old hat. They have not modernized. They don't. Their website. I got sent a Wayback Machine link of their website from ages ago. It looked I say ages ago, from like 2 years ago or whatever. Looks terrible. It's only recently been updated, and like they don't have they have a Twitter, but it's not at Fantask, which belongs to some guy named Mr. Fantask, which is I think he's a rapper or something. It's not even at Fantask DK, which was fine. It's called at Fantask NYT neat, which I think in Danish means news. So like it's just like finding them was hard for me. You know, they the access that their understanding of utilizing social media is low. And I should say this, in Denmark, everyone's bad at this. Only like 2 people aren't bad. Like even fucking J-popcon, the people who gave me the pass to their convention, they fucking suck at social media. They didn't even tweet the location of the event. So when I didn't know where it was, I was searching everywhere. And then Luxiva had to tell me so that I could find it. Like nobody is, and I found out that actually the reason why they suck at social media, quote unquote, is because everyone in Denmark uses Facebook. All like the businesses and stuff use Facebook to like tell you when they're doing stuff. They all control their little Facebook page. So if you were wondering why this entire bustling community of art and comics and media and some of the most interesting things to come out of the world was completely unaware to you as an outsider from Scandinavia, it's because you don't fucking use Facebook. You fucking millennial. Become a boomer. Embrace Mark Zuckerberg's little face land so you can find out the good shit. Oh my God, that was such an emotional moment for me. Finding out that it was all on Facebook, honestly, it broke me. I think looks about watched me lose my mind in real time. Anyway, so the convention was great. I met lots of wonderful people. I spoke to lots of wonderful people about lots of stuff that I will get into in a future video. And I saw lots of amazing stuff. And then I bought comics. So I spent of the patrons' money, which again, it's important research content money. I spent like $200-300, like a lot of money, there on just comics. It was great to do that. I was supporting indie creators, and if you don't support indie creators, it's because you're a terrible person. You know, you don't understand. You don't understand how important it was of me to get a copy of Pokemon #1 and 7 Deadly Sins #1. You don't understand. It was all research content. I had to buy Solo Leveling #1 for work. You all want me to review Solo Leveling, right? Right? Say yes. But no, like the comic scene there is actually pretty interesting. So after like walking around talking to people, etc., I finally decided to buy comics from creators, from local creators, stuff that was as local as I could get, because I wanted to get stuff that I could never get again unless I was in Denmark. That was my hope. And at the convention, of course, I picked up some really wonderful ones. I'm just gonna say the names of people's stuff that I picked up. I wish I could show you my camera, but I'm gonna be real with you. I still really don't like showing you guys my face. But picked up a book called Mermaids and Fungi by Pepper Anderson. Pepper, where the second E in Pepper is an A instead. It was great. Of course, Hope Jord gave me her copy of Corvid's Eye. It was really good. I really love reading Corvid's Eye. She gave me one of the copies. They gave me one of the copies of of Corvid's Eye, and it was a great read. I had so much fun with it. Um, what'd you call it? Jules, Jules or Raptor Jules on Twitter, gave me her copy of one of her books, Prom Night. She works at Seemingly Dark, and I think that has some print versions. There was this creator called Sticky Milk, and the milk was spelt with the I in milk being replaced with A and E, so Maelk, Sticky Milk. And they had three comics, and I bought every single one of them. One was called Escape, one was called Bananat, and I think that one is entirely in Danish and involves a banana monster. It's a lot to emotionally read. I read that on my second night in Denmark, and I had a nightmare. and and the third one I bought is called Ugh, Grow Up. They're all really good. They all have a little bit of horror in them. They're just very good stuff. I found out about a little German imprint company, a German comics imprint called Afcom. Afcom seems to be the one that like publishes like the really indie stuff. Like, like if you've ever read Mouse, and inside of Mouse, there's this book, this comic that Art Spiegelman says he wrote when he was in uni or whatever. Like it's like a really underground comic. It's a very like experimental comic. Afcom publishes that kind of content. And I literally cannot show you a single page from this comic we bought called Sort Nanver. I quite literally cannot show you a single page. Yeah, my copy of Goth Girl and Jock is with you, Luxiva, I think. So I don't know where it is. I think it's with you. But yeah, I can't show you a single page from this book called Sort Nanver because there is quite literally nudity. Oh, 2 pages of no nudity, thank God. Okay, I can show you this. I literally have been looking for a page I can show. That wasn't absolutely depraved. So that's great. That's wonderful. We love being able to show you guys literally anything. Let's see, do I have what's my video capture device? Great. Yeah, so it looks like you need to mail me my copy of Goth Girl and Jock that I bought from Merryweathery. So this is Sorts Nanver. This is literally the only 2 pages that don't have nudity on them. If I turn this page, I will lose my YouTube account. I can't risk it. It's really good though. It's really good. Actually really good. That was one of the ones you made me buy. And one of the other ones that Luxiva helped me buy was Wolf Morgenthaler, number 4, which is a kind of Cyanide and Happiness style, Boondock style strip comic. Instead of the typical French BDs that most of Europe unfortunately has to emotionally deal with on a regular basis. So that was great. Wolf Morgenthaler was really good to read, mostly because I don't understand any of the words because it's all in Danish. It's all in the language of the elves, kids. Don't know what it means, but it was cool. Got a little comic called Wiz Ki Centurali. I'm trying to remember the names of any of this. This one was free. It was made by a little group that seemed to all be in uni, I think, or at least high school at the worst. They were very nice people, and they had both made a little comic, a little zine, a little tiny little zine. It was wonderful to read. There were tons of other comics I didn't pick up. There was a guy in there next to Merryweathery's booth that had 5 volumes of a manga. Sorry, 4 volumes, an OVA, an omake volume, and was working on volume 5 of his manga. He's so, and I don't mean like little volumes. I mean like full on Naruto size volumes. Okay, proper like regular Shonen Jump page count volumes. He had made 4, and was going on to make number 5 since 2012. So every one of you that's sitting there going, hey, my comic is going to take me 10 years to draw. Slow. Actually, speaking of volumes, one second. Speaking of volumes, there's a creator I remember. Their name was Nikki Yord. Nikki Yord. Yeah, I'm remembering them for real. This is a real person. Good. Um, Nikki was really nice. I met Nikki's Nikki's partner, I believe, and her friend. Um, met Nikki's partner and her friend, but at the table. But what really mattered for me was Nikki's manga. Nikki's comic that is currently published for young adults. It's called Howlinked. Howlinked. I'm gonna just show that on the screen now. Yeah, there it is. This full on done, thick book, 400 pages, printed. I wanted to buy it, but in Denmark, everybody uses this thing called mobile pay. It's really convenient, but if you don't have a social security number, you can't use it. Either way, Nikki published maybe only the first 4 chapters of this on Tapas, and every single other chapter she just drew at home and then published. She made the book in 6 years and has made all her money back. I don't understand these people. They defy all the worries I had about the industry. Like, holy crap. Everyone's like, yeah, I made my comic and I published it, with not really that much of an audience. But then I made my money back. What? What? That's just everyone. It's really cool. Also, I just want you guys to know, the person who made 4 volumes of a manga and was going on to make a volume 5, he's called Martin Brusin, or Dragonair. I think Dragonair literally like the Pokemon. Let me just make sure. Yeah, literally like the Pokemon, but with 1 extra N. Yeah, Dragonair. And his Twitter, all his social media is just like at Dragonair. Like the Pokemon with 1 extra N. That's it. Super nice dude. All his volumes are for sale. You should probably get them, honestly. So yeah, like it was so imaginative. Also, did you guys know that in Denmark, there's something else I found out. These are all just it's me covering the little trivia that's left over. Did you know, guys, in Denmark, if you publish your book in Danish first, which is a thing that most people try to do, and then eventually and then obviously translate it to English, you get paid a library fee because it's a local Danish production. So every time the book gets borrowed, libraries in Denmark pay you a small fee, which is insane to me. Also, I just want to say, like, I made a lot of jokes today about like you've nominated your comic, blah 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 blah. I just want to really say, really clearly, Denmark is in like a very unusual position, and I'll tell you why. Going to J-popcon, meeting all these creators, going to the convention, experiencing all these things. One of the things that was very clear was that there was a lot of cultural grants being given out to people in Denmark from the government. I just want that to be clear. Tons of people, from Hope telling me that they got a grant from the government, to them, to art grants existing and just being given out at the end of the convention to people. Art grants were given to people regularly so they could make the art they loved. They had access to money that they just would never get otherwise. And of course, you have to prove you deserve it, but because the location is so small and the artistic pool is so small, free money, and I say free money very loosely here, I just mean money for the purposes of enhancing culture, was a thing there. And it wasn't easy to get by any stretch of the imagination. You have to work your ass off, but it was there. It was available. The pool was smaller than everywhere else, which meant the competition was lower, but it didn't mean that you could get in just by being a fucking waste man. You had to be good. And all these creators are fucking good, hardworking, and the work shows. And they got access to these funds and they managed to be able to create things. And I don't mean every single one of them, but a good amount of them. For all of the things that you might hear about other things I said about how hard it is to make money there and how expensive everything is, blah, 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 for a lot of different people, there is a lot of money being put into the arts, or at least for art to get made. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. Of course it could be. And anyone who lives in Denmark will probably tell you, I wish they invested more money here, blah, blah, blah. But from a place where we don't really get that, that to me is huge. That to me is massive, gigantic. I think it was Hope talking about how how they got, I think Hope got a grant at the end of the convention. Like, looks of it, refresh my memory. But there were art grants at the end of the convention, I believe. Or at least like a convention grant that allowed you to come next year to the convention for free. So if you were a creator that was making things and the convention was a way for you to make money, the convention awarded you a prize that allowed you to come back the year later for free to make money again. Like, contextualize that for yourself. Imagine you are not making enough money, or imagine if your margins for the convention were just the ticket cost of being there cost a lot. Because to table at the convention, you don't just pay for the table. So I said you pay $300 for the table. That's about 35, 40 pounds, so about 40, 50 American dollars, about 40 American dollars. You also have to pay for the ticket. The ticket is about 70, 80 American dollars, something like that. Like altogether you're paying like 70, 80 American dollars to be there, right? As a creator, some of you know this as creators, that's a lot of money for you. That's a week of food, right? So being able to come a year later to this place and just engage with it, again, no cost to you if you're local, is big, in my opinion. And there were art grants. I believe there were art grants. I'm so sure there was an art grant in the event that was given out. That wasn't just like this, it was like money. It was like, here's some money to make your work. It was a weird place to be in a lot of ways. Being in Denmark, being at J-popcon was insane. And I would never have gone that experience if J-popcon didn't give me a press pass. Bless their hearts. Looks of it didn't get me in, and I didn't obviously go, but I'm so happy that I went. I got to experience an entirely different part of the comics and art industry. I don't think there's any other way to really put that. It was fucking crazy. It was fucking crazy. I loved it. Any questions? That was a long, drawn out story about going to Denmark. Ask me your questions now. That's a great time to ask me anything that I haven't clarified, anything, or tell me things I haven't said, Luxava, so that I can talk about it. Oh God, getting all this together took for fucking ever. There's still so much footage I haven't watched. Oh, and I didn't say there was a cosplay competition when I was in Denmark. There's a massive cosplay competition, and I've edited a bunch of my photos from the cosplay competition and stuff, and I've put them on socials. Not Webcomics Hub socials, unfortunately, even though I probably should do that. I might tweet them out, but I have put them on Reddit on my Webcomics Hub account, Nen Webcomics Hub, Nen WCH. And if you want to get access to that, if you want to see them, they're all up, they're all around. Yeah. What was the cool backdrop behind Madame K's selfie? It looks so cool. Oh, that backdrop. I think it belonged to some makeup company. I can't remember what they're called. I should say they're called NYX Professional Makeup. They're not paying me any money, unfortunately, to say this. If only they'd pay me my $3,000 that they should pay for a spot on this show. But no, yeah, NYX Professional Makeup was there. They were the ones with my friend Luxiva, and they were the reason why. They were part of the reason why she was able to help get me a press pass so easily. It would have probably been harder through any other avenue, but because they were involved with the convention, they're a big company in Denmark and just in the world, it was very easy for that to happen. This episode of WAT is not sponsored by NYX, yes. And it would never be sponsored by Tapas because they fucking hate my guts. Like, it would never be sponsored by fucking Tapas. Tapas, finding out that someone at Tapas hates my guts enough to just not like me openly, that it's a conversation topic at some point ever, is the funniest thing to me. It's absolutely hilarious. Because, like, I don't know, I'm just into it. You know, it's kind of hot. It's kind of hot. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that one of them does. Sorry, I'm still losing my shit at the fact that, like, I found out from Harry Weather. Oh my God. But yeah, um, yeah, you spawned. Yeah, your company sponsored all three of the cosplay contests, which was great actually, because I managed to get. You sponsored all of them. Also, I've something else to say. Did you guys? I don't know if I've said this before. I said the K-pop thing earlier, but again, bustling K-pop troop scene. But did you know something else? Scandinavia has a massive, like the Nordic region has a massive, massive, massive cosplay scene. Like they have a massive cosplay scene. That's wild to me. Oh, Bone. How do I say your name? Bone? I feel so uncultured when I talk to people from Scandinavia because I have this shitty American accent. I have the sensibilities of a British person, and I can't read. Bone says I'm a comic artist from Sweden, right above Denmark, and I went to comic school with the author you mentioned earlier, Nikki. Second year, and she in the first year, her stuff is great. Nikki is incredible, and I'm sure you are too if you went to comic school as well. Knowing that there's a comic school in any part of the of Europe is a great thing. You in the UK, comics aren't really respected. The biggest comic book company that's local to the UK, and I mean like fully local, is 2000 AD, and like that, and for a lot of British people, their perception of comics is Marvel, DC, 2000 AD, and that's it. And if you've ever read 2000 AD comic, that's a Judge Dredd or like anything else really that they've made. Judge Dredd, Judge Anderson, or any of the Mega City One stuff that they've made, or any of their other alternative content, you'll know that like it's got a very dark tone. So from a lot of people in Europe, in the UK, comics are very depressing. And the few things that aren't made by them that are from the UK are published by like Rebellion Studios, the video game company, and like those are usually like American stuff as well. Oh, Jenna. Hi, Jenna. How are you? Actually, Jenna, you have a contract with Tapas. Do you know do you know Jules Anderson, Raptor Jules? I look at me being like the worst person, but I just assume you do because she also has a contract with Tapas. She works with Tapas, and I just figured you might know each other. Maybe there's a Discord server, because that's just something I want to know. Yeah, like it's just God. But yeah, Jenna, you've come at the end when I've finished explaining an entire story about being in Denmark. So yeah. Yeah, like Denmark having the massive Nordic, like the Nordic area having and Europe having this massive cosplay contest thing that I had to find out by going to J-popcon was weird. And the people there were amazing. I should say this. I wish they filmed it. I hope they filmed it. But there was this really amazing performance at the J-popcon cosplay contest, like the proper. Okay, cool. That's good to know, Jenna. But at the proper big convention shows, like the stuff that was about going to the Nordic competition and the European cosplay competition, one of the crazy things about it was like there was this crazy performance, awesome performance. People dressed up as Little Nightmares. People dressed up as lots of stuff. It was awesome. Tons of great skits along with the cosplay. And my favorite was the Eggman one. The Eggman show was literally the best. And you know what? They got fucking robbed. I hope he sees this. Guy who wore an egg, who dressed up as Eggman. Great. Oh, they filmed all of it? Awesome. That means I should be able to find it. Hopefully we can find Eggman. Where is he? I need him back. There was a guy who dressed up as Eggman for the cosplay contest and did like a wonderful song and dance and everything. And it was incredible. It was the best thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like, holy shit. It was so incredible. And guess what? He didn't win. You know who won? Little Nightmares won 2 prizes, I think. And then 2 other people. And then like one of the Arcane cosplays, which was boring. Look, the Arcane cosplayers did a great job, but one of the Arcane cosplay shows won. Cosplay skits won. The Arcane cosplay was boring as fuck. I'm not saying it because I hate you guys. I'm saying it because it was, because I don't care about Arcane. They were lovely people though. Everyone was lovely. And then who else won? Fuck. It was someone else I didn't really care about. But like everyone who won, none of them were the cool people. None of them were the cool people, namely the Eggman cosplay. Eggman was robbed, and that's what I have to say. It was a fucking scam. at J-popcon, when you watch this to finally verify that I actually made the video I promised I would make in exchange for the press pass, you motherfuckers better know. And I'm still mad. I'm still mad about no Eggman. Oh, great. Somebody uploaded all the footage they gathered from J-popcon. Awesome. Great. I'll watch that later. But it was like these massive cosplays. And like for some reason, they like the guy dressed, he danced, he sang the song about being he was like, I'm an egg man, not an egg man. Like, come the fuck on. You kidding me? That's who you didn't give the award to? There was a Beetlejuice one. Boring as fuck, by the way. I'm such a terrible person. There was a Has Been Hotel one. Oh, there it is. I found it. Guys, I found it. We're gonna watch it together. I can't do this without you. To close off today's fucking stream, we're gonna watch the Eggman show. And if you have any arguments to that, if you have anything to say to that topic, I want you to know that I don't care. I don't give a shit about what you have to say about any of this. If you don't like the Eggman cosplay, you're no friend of mine. Okay, so your opinion was already irrelevant from the beginning. There was no world where you won. Let's see if I can just get it to work. Oh my god. Why isn't it working? Guys, this is the greatest travesty of all time. It's not working. They're trying to hide it from us. They're trying to take away our culture. Oh, I found it, but I just need to show you guys. But it doesn't want to work. Oh, great, it's working now. Okay, great. Okay. I'm gonna use a screen room that I almost never use. Because I just don't want to, but I'm doing this for you guys. For everyone here, I'm going to show us this wonderful little piece of history. Okay. I'm not watching Little Nightmares. We're going to watch this together, okay? Just reduce the volume. So, one of the things they did at the convention was you would basically get like a little preview of what they were gonna cosplay from. So this was it. It was one guy. This guy got the loudest cheers in the entire audience. His name is Crash Shadow. Right? Let's watch this. This is the best. This is everything I wanted. It was my favorite show. He like gets up and dances, by the way. Watching it on somebody's phone does not carry the emotional weight that it once did. But I remember how I felt. I was eating hotak and watching this. Yeah, there's cringe rap. It's okay.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk. What do I look like?
This is my type, yes. This is my emotional. This is the kind of person. Oh, wait. Yeah. This is when he changes. Oh, costume reveal. It's my favorite. I love this moment. This is. was the greatest fucking thing. Eggman got robbed, okay? Nobody else was that fucking interesting. Little Nightmares was just a little bit creepy, whatever. But you see that takes talent. Talent is something all of you lack if you don't fucking understand why that was the best show of the entire thing. Okay? Fuck all of you. Fuck people at J-popcon, all those people who worked their asses off to make decisions about who won the contest. You guys cheated. Eggman was robbed, okay? Eggman sweep. Yes, it's the guy from, what do you mean, Radar? What the fuck? There was a really overdrawn Yu-Gi-Oh one. Good dude, there was a ton of them. If you wanted to experience it, you should watch it. But Eggman was robbed. The Sega at the end was so good. Come on. And then they lost to fucking, who did they Beetlejuice didn't win actually, so that was good. Beetlejuice was terrible. And then there was a Devil May Cry one that sucked too. I'm gonna be the worst person now and just say all the ones I didn't like. There was an SAO one I didn't like. There was an Ensemble Stars one I didn't like. There were 2 Arcane ones that sucked. There was one Vox Machina one that was really fucking good actually. The girl, the lady who did that, she has so much personality. She has so much stage presence. She's so good. There was a Mass Effect one that was entirely in Danish. I don't speak Danish, but I know exactly what the meme was. So like I was just sitting there going, I don't fucking understand why this is a thing I have to experience. It was a lot of pain, to be honest. Yeah, you know, it was a lot. There was a lot to take on from all the different cosplay contests. But for the big ones, there were 2 Arcane ones. There was the one I told you, the one I just showed you, and there was an Octopath Traveler one that was really boring. Look, I like Octopath Traveler, and it's good, but like Beetlejuice swept. Wait, was it Beetlejuice sweep? Or it was Beetlejuice sweep? Oh, it was so fucking boring. It was so boring. We're not gonna watch that. But yeah, that's the end of the show. Thank you. That's me done for today. That information made me sad because I completely forgot who won, but now I'm sad. Eggman was robbed. Give me money on Patreon. Denmark was a great trip. Yeah, that's it. If you want to see all the interviews that I did, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do for once. I'm gonna do a really big what'd you call it? A really big shill for a second, and I'd appreciate it if you guys just let me do this one time for this year. I'm going to do a shill, a really big shill. Look, guys, I got a Patreon. Okay, I got a Patreon. I need to pay bills to go to trips like this. I got a Patreon. Give me money. Look, all the interviews I talked about are all on here, unedited, fully available for you to watch. Unedited, fully available for you to watch, and you should do yourself a favor. Give me money. Watch them. From as little as $1 a month, you can become a patron too. Check it out. Patreon.com/Webcomics Hub. Okay, cool. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for today's stream. Thank you to all of my wonderful patrons, as always. Thank you to everyone who showed up. Yeah, I was right. You're right, It was really weird that there was only 2 anime acts during the 3 cosplay shows. But yeah, thank you all my patrons, especially the top 2, X-Sensei and Jenny Tunes, but also thank you to Renchu, Misty Nix, MJ King, Pearl Seaman, Kat, Tyler, Jackie, Blot of Ink, Inkblot, Paige Critchlow, Bailey, Geek Boy Studios, and Ashlyn. Surprisingly low amount of anime acts during that entire anime convention. Anyway, bye. Watch the replay if you want to watch it. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Oh. Also, follow us on social media. Just thought I'd say that there. Pretty late.